GOP leader Kevin McCarthy spoke to Axios, and he fired some shots at certain high-profile Democrats.
So you, this cycle, raised more money than any House Republican ever, more than any of your speaker predecessors. What did you learn, and how did you pull this off?
Well, the best way to raise money is just let Nancy Pelosi and AOC talk.
So you bring up a relatively junior member, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. Why do your people respond so vociferously to her?
Well, she runs the floor.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
That wing of the party, the socialist wing of the party, they are the new power of the Democratic Party.
More so than Speaker Pelosi.
Oh, by far, by far. You watched on the floor. Legislation couldn't be passed unless AOC agreed with it.
That is the least true thing anybody has ever said in human history. I'll give you just one example, and this says it all. Probably the number one policy on AOC's list and my list, or if it's not her number one, it's within the top 3 or 5, okay? Medicare for all. We can't even get a vote on Medicare for all in a Democratic House of Representatives. So Pelosi controls it. We can't even get a vote on Medicare for all. 70% of the country wants Medicare for all. Over 80%, probably 90% of Democrats want Medicare for all. We can't even get a vote on Medicare for all. This is one of her top policy priorities. We can't even get a vote on it. And you're telling me legislation doesn't get through without Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Are you kidding me? By the way, I don't even think the main piece of legislation that she has proposed, I don't even think that's gotten a vote yet. The one, like the first one, I don't know if it was the first one, but it was one of the first ones that she signed on her name onto, where it was her and Bernie, and they wanted to stop basically loan sharking, where they said, I think it's 12% interest is the max that any bank can charge you. An idea that's so popular that Tucker Carlson on Fox News even gave it credit and said, listen, I think conservatives should be pushing for stuff like this. Stop banks from ripping off regular people. I don't think that got a vote on it. I don't think that got a vote either. Legislation doesn't get through without her. Are you kidding me? I wish. The left wishes. We wish that the Democratic Party was the Democratic Party that the Republicans think it is. We wish all those attack ads on Joe Biden from Trump were real, were true. That Joe Biden is some sort of hardcore lefty. Because then we might actually get something done in this country. Then we might actually follow in the footsteps of one of the most successful presidents of all time, FDR, who was a social democrat and who was so popular he won 4 times. And one of the elections, he won 48 out of 50 states. He won all but 2. I mean, come on, man. I don't like this. It's so annoying. These people are so annoying and they're so disconnected from reality. They don't know, or they know and they don't care about internal Democratic Party politics. So when he says, oh, the way for me to raise money is to let Nancy Pelosi and AOC talk, and that's how I raise money, those philosophies are diametrically opposed. So you're saying they're both bad because they're both Democratic, but that makes no sense. Like, which thing is the thing that really fires up the Republican base? I mean, listen, Nancy Pelosi is the one who's in all the ads. Whenever Republicans have attack ads, they put Nancy Pelosi in there. You know? Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, oftentimes they take things she says and twist it and take it out of context, or focus whenever she goes like social justice warrior-y, they could focus on those comments because that's easy to malign and make fun of. But fact of the matter is, if you get Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talking about economics, she's going to run circles around these people. She's going to run circles around them, and she's going to make them look like fools. And by the way, this is why I've always argued, if you're on the left, you got to put front and center economics. Put front and center, it's the populism, stupid, that even resonates with Republicans. When you talk about universal health care, are you kidding me? I mean, you bait the Republicans into disagreeing that every American should have health care. Do you realize how stupid they look when you do that? I mean, you're a political juggernaut and you're ironclad if you bait your opponents into making ridiculously shitty arguments. And that's what the left could do if they put front and center all the economic issues which matter the most. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they veer off track, and sometimes we get lost in the field of abolish ICE and defund the police, and then You're not working on your grounds where you're 70%, 80% popularity. All of a sudden, you're now 40%, according, depending on which poll you look at. So he doesn't know, or he doesn't care about internal Democratic politics. He just thinks, they're all bad because they're all Democrats. Nancy Pelosi is the out-of-touch elitist who's controlling the Democratic Party, who makes it a corporate party. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the left flank upstart. And I wish she had as much power as they're making it sound like she does. I will give them one point, though. He wasn't making a distinction in terms of actual power in the party, but Pelosi controls the party, the corporatists control the party, full stop. In terms of the actual people, yes, AOC has their support. The socialist wing, as they call it, they support her. And the reason they support her is because they support Medicare for all, free college, living wage, ending the wars, Green New Deal, so on and so forth. So yes, in terms of popularity, in terms of the people, they're with her, but they're not with Nancy Pelosi. And it's not the case that AOC controls the legislation, because I got news for you. If that was true, the Democratic Party would be a hell of a lot more popular. If AOC got to control the agenda and she puts Medicare for all at the top of that list, we'd start seeing another situation just like FDR when he won 4 times. All of a sudden, people will go, hey, these Democrats are actually really helping me and materially improving my life. Hey, I was going to go bankrupt because of medical bills. Now I'm not. Hey, I have health coverage before I didn't. Hey, my wages just went up. Hey, I'm part of a union now, and the union gives me better benefits and paid vacation time. If the left were to control policy and control the party, people like Kevin McCarthy would have no hope. They'd be destroyed. They'd be obliterated. They would. So, I wish, dude. I wish. I absolutely wish. And again, final point, what I would say to AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, the left flank, we're a juggernaut and we're unstoppable if you put front and center economics, if you put front and center the populism. And then not only are you popular with your own party, that's when you actually start chipping away from the Republican voters. The politicians are corrupt and they're beyond hope. But you actually can get a decent number of Republican voters on your side if you put the economics front and center. And then you're really talking about landslide wins from now until the end of time. So he better thank his lucky stars that she's not in control of the party. And he better thank his lucky stars that she hasn't discovered the path to endless Democratic victories, which is, like I said, put front and center the issues where we're popular. Soon as she figures that out, it's over for you bitches.